straighten. Straighten it up. Whoa. Ah! Oh, that almost hit everything. Oh my God, it's another shop video. It may not be a thriller, but you get to have your guess right now in the comments. Tell me what you think of what went wrong with the unit. Well, put all that work in, and then the old girl just lets me down. Got electrical issues. Bad ones. It started off, I'll tell you the story first, and then we'll go through some diagnostics and see what we can get. So the night started out fine and dandy, and then it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. It was like, let's go run up these creeks. A guy decides to come and follow us. That friend of mine knew. He's in a Can-Am 4-seat. And we lost him somewhere along the way because we was packing the mail. So all of a sudden he just disappears. It's like, we get all the way up to the end of the creek, and it's like, we might want to turn around and go look for him. Well, old Bergie, he's like, I'm going to stay here. You go find him. Well, I had to go find him with this freaking ridiculously loud exhaust, which means turning it off and back on several times. I had kind of tried to do a cat delete and messed up my muffler the day of we were leaving. So I wound up with this beautifully hideous and loud and obnoxious Flowmaster exhaust. And this thing is welded rather disrespectfully to the original flange. And it kind of does this number and that number and all the numbers that your muffler's not really meant to do, but this one does it, okay? It's like if I want my exhaust to be pointed that way, kind of more, you know, maybe I don't like the guy over here, I can kind of point it that way. Maybe I just really want to melt some plastics. I'm sure that you could get it angled up here. And I turned it off and started it back once. The last time that it was started, and it made a weird click when right before it turned over. It would just go click, and then it started. And I was like, that don't sound very happy. So then I turned it off one more time and go to start it back, and I just get a click and then nothing on the starter. So at that particular point in time, I still had everything else on the buggy, and it was just a matter of why in the world me motor won't crank. Okay? So I get up in here and I'll whap on that starter with every tool that I didn't have, and tried to get her to crank, get her to unstick, nothing. And thankfully where I had stopped was right at the main trail, so there was a Jeep that came through that was able to pull me back. Because keep in mind, this is like 3 o'clock in the freaking morning. And I get towed back, and by the time I get back, it was 4 a.m. by the time I got back to camp. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. This is a tomorrow Thomas problem. I'm tired. I don't feel like messing with it. I'm just going to get mad. Austin was already in bed, so the service truck was locked with all of our tools in it. And I'm like, nah, that's a tomorrow Thomas issue. I go out there ripe and early in the morning, and I start diagnosing. We're thinking, what's a starter? Well, it's got to be like a freaking easy-to-find starter. So I call around. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm calling some parts stores and stuff, trying to find a starter, and no one has one in stock. No motorsports stores do. But I was trying to cross-reference it over. But at this point, I started testing. We've got excitation power, and which is power engages your starter solenoid to make the motor crank, and we've got 12 volts at the starter. So at that point, the ampacity of the batteries comes into question. Well, the thing is, I had no way to test this, so we was like, well, these batteries are old. Let's just go and replace them. So we went and got, Austin was leaving it to go get a shower and stuff anyway, so we've got fresh batteries. And it's like, okay, clean the terminals while he was gone and put them back together, checked a couple fuses, and then all of a sudden, when you turn the key, just nothing happened. I mean, just nothing. It's got headlights. Got taillights, and it makes those noises. And that's about all that I've got, okay? Somewhere between the beginning of trying to find a starter and batteries arriving, we lost more functionality of the vehicle. And that's not good. So, with that being said, I go through and I start trying to find bad grounds. I found a couple that were a little bit dirty, but not bad. And I was like, probably not it. Clean them. Nope, not it. So, at this point in time, I know two things. One, I probably need a starter that I'm most likely not going to be able to cross-reference and get on a Saturday in Sparta, Kentucky in any timely manner at 2 o'clock. And two, I'm drawing a crowd, which anybody who's ever ridden with me knows that I am the first person to get down there and bust somebody's stuff apart in the parking lot and try to help them fix it. On side of trail, wherever. I'm the first person to come out and try to help everybody. I don't like drawing a crowd and ruining everybody else's evening. And bear in mind that we had killed 2 other buggies the night before, so we're down to very few seats. So I hopped on the old Majestic Hog, messed around for a little while, and then I got in with some other people. We had a good night anyways. And it is what it is. I wasn't going to ruin everybody else's night chasing gremlins. And then knowing that I was going to need a starter anyways, because I was like, yep, starter's probably overheated. I mean, it's got a lot of miles on it. And it's been turned off and on a whole lot in those miles. Yeah, that starter's probably stuck or fried. And it's going to be something that's not going to be reliably fixable here. And it's definitely not going to be properly fixable, which, I mean, what are you wasting everybody's time for? I mean, it's Bubba Fest. There's no reason to act like you're at like a freaking Southern Rock Racing Series finals trying to run your buggy and here you are broke down. It's like it ain't that deep. Hop in with somebody else and enjoy the evening. So where that leaves us now, enough yapping about it. We have power to the headlights, taillights, and ECU is getting startup power. It's running through the cycles. It's just not running any gauge lights or I've got no clusters. I've got nothing. So we're going to start out with a couple quick checks here. I'll show you through the diagnostic process, and then we'll go from there. So here's the Master Technician's booklet on these units, and we'll set her up here right in the floor. Perfect. So when we look at this grand distribution book here, okay, this is a whole bunch of skitty noodles and whatnot. We're going to look here, and this is power distribution 1. This is the main rig. This is where the big kachungus happens, okay? This is where the action really comes from. And this thing sits down on the driver's side wheel well. 1, 2, 3, and they're all grouped. There's main groups here. So we see here in our first one, we have instruments, lights, and accessory. And then on the second one, we got aux, power, chassis, and charge. Then we've got EFI, start, and fuel. Now, why in the world is an issue down here in the start quadrant causing an issue up here in the instruments? That's not good. That doesn't make no damn sense. So, with that being said, we're going to start out and we're going to check power under the dash at the power pulse bar. That's going to be my next move. I already know I've got a full 12 volts back here on the starter. I've got good ground. I've got good everything back in this quadrant, because a lot of times starter wires alone on razors can cause a whole plethora of issues. And we've got power everywhere back here in the engine quadrant that we need. That starter's probably shot. Come over here. We got us a ground clamp on that seatbelt harness there. Verify it. Yep, good ground. Okay. Verify it over here at the battery. Yep, good ground. All right, so now we'll go to DC voltage. Come up in here to our Polaris pulse bar. Go down here to the main unit, the main squeeze. We've got 12 volts. All right, well, we've got power at the pulse bar, so there's something. Let's see this fuse here. We've got a good fuse. Let's go to ground. Let's check the ground. I'm starting to get nervous now. Oh, that ain't good. Well, I was hoping it was going to be an issue up in there, but it's not. And the reason why I was hoping it'd be an issue up in there, or the reason why I'm thinking it's an issue up in there, is because your whole rod command system runs off of that pulse bar partially. So if you lose power to the rod command, I don't know what else that could trip offline in it saying, hey, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, why is my screen not doing things? And, you know, it shouldn't, realistically. So, next up, I need to think about this. So, now I'm going to check some of my work here in the smaller fuse quadrant, because we're losing something weird that is upsetting the entire system that's probably unrelated to whatever else it's doing. I don't know, because we've got good relays. I've tested those by using the lights relay, which works, and moving it around to various locations, checking other relays in its place, and I can feel them click and verify that they function. They're all the same part number. So I checked all these fuses. Every single one of these fuses checks out good. We've got power everywhere we should have power. So I don't know what we got going on here. All right. After much thought, consideration, reading my book and whatnot, this diode here brings to question, because I did not test that. And these things have a tendency to fail. So let's turn key on. All right, we're fully on. We're in neutral. It should crank right now. It's doing nothing. No gauge lights, no nothing, not even a twitch. Let's bring this diode out. The thing that sucks about these is there's no way to visually check them, and they're weird to check with a meter, and I'll show you that here. But I've already visually inspected every single other fuse in this and meter tested them. All right, what I'm about to do here, don't do it for permanent. For temporary, if you're on the side of the trail and your unit goes bad, hey, life or death situation, get her home. But I'm gonna do this for a test. They have diodes on these for a reason, to interrupt noise and stuff like that from ruining and messing up and throwing stuff off. And this is on the coils. So this will interrupt anything other than straight DC current from going to the coil circuit. That's why this is here. It has a reason for the season. It's just a matter of, are you working or not? Quick and dirty hillbilly way of doing this and checking her and seeing if she works. Let's see, we've got us a freaking 6 ampere unit right there. Okay, let's grab us a freaking let's find us something close. Yeah, there we go. We got a 7.5 from the fuses, spares. All right, we'll take this little 7.5 amp fuse and put her in there. The reason I went close to the same amps is because I want to make sure if something's actually wrong on this circuit, it doesn't go kablooey. So we'll stick that unit in there. Oh! 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 All that mess over a freaking diode. We've got power steering. We've got freaking gauges. We could probably listen to the radio. Okay, why is the engine temp ruby red? That's kind of not good. That's kind of questionable. Why does it think it's overheating? Who knows? Let's take her for a, oh, we have got a lot of freaking error codes. Okay, things are not happy, but they're functional. Probably something we unplugged at the park. Let's see if we can crank. Give her a crank. Oh. Oh, did you hear that? Okay, we've got defibrillation. Let's go check this unit and see if it's bad or if something went wrong. I would have never thought that this thing would have affected so much, but it does. It's weird in these razors. So, okay, we're reading open circuit. Now, something that I forgot, and I just remembered, and this may have been the whole root cause of the issue here, is that these freaking things are directional. I don't know if I just picked it up the same way or not. And you know what? I may have stuck this sucker in there backwards because it doesn't make sense for that to have gone bad. Yeah, I stuck her in there the same way. Pick it up. Yum, yum, yum. Yummy. Oh my God, it works. Okay, all that bullshit over a freaking diode that was probably in there backwards. Let's go find out. Check, shall we, folks? I'm gonna kick myself so hard if that's all that this electrical issue was. The main issue, it doesn't matter though, the buggy wouldn't have ran anyways. And this is also part of the reason why I didn't waste very much time sitting in the parking lot trying to fix it, is because I knew that I was probably going to make a bigger mess than me focused. I didn't have my master book with me to take a look at. I like looking at my master book. I bet you this sucker, because I had this out to inspect it and wiggle it and check the contacts on it and didn't see anything. But let's see. Wait a minute. The key's not on. Yeah. Moment of silence. I'm a dumbass. Okay. But that's part of the problem solved. The rest of the problem is still a problem, so we've still got more work to do. So next up, I'm going to pull this starter out, and I'm going to physically inspect it and see if I can manually turn it over or even maybe get it to spin outside of the buggy. And if I can, there's a decent chance that starter has a flat spot on it. So I'm going to spin it partially and then stick it in there and see if the buggy will fire up here real quick. All right, after a couple little two-hand wiggles, out she comes. Why is it oily? My starter's not supposed to have Earl all up over it. Why is Earl fondling, just violating my damn starternator? Oh, that's some dirty Earl too. This starter is supposed to sit behind. I was verifying here. I had to look at the book. I got Earl on my hand now. I ain't got Earl on my book. Got seal, and then the flywheel. We see Mr. Starter right there. Earl's slung up all up in here because Mr. Seal right here installed Mr. PU52884 is apparently no longer intact, allowing Earl to get up in here, get up in my starternator, and Earl got up in there and just blew my starternator out. And now I got to take the whole freaking engine out of this thing. Well, it's an unhappy ending, but I was like, we're going to film it anyways because it may help somebody at least know that they're not alone in frustrations. My bad day that was getting better got worse. Classic. I got to take the whole engine out of this thing, and I've got to ride in a week and a half. Oh, my God. I know what I'm going to be doing this weekend. I pulled it just because I had to know. Or else I knew it was going to keep me up at night. She still turns free. So now all I need is me a nice little Kickstarter. I'm thinking like a fork, like kind of like that. And we'll just reach in here and grab this sucker and kick her over. I'll just have to jump up out of my seat and kickstart the buggy. And we'll be ready to rock and roll. We don't even need no damn seals. Don't even mess with it. Okay, new day here. Made a post in the old Race Pro R Facebook trying to figure this out. And I have been reminded of a part that I completely forgot about. The PTO on these machines. And I'm going to go investigate this real quick because I really don't want that to let loose. But you can see here, Jesse Williams brought it up. And I was like, wait a minute, racking my brain. And I was like, oh, shit. When I found it, I was like, oh, crap. It's like, that's important. So, this is your bell housing assembly here. There's your transmission housing, and then there's what would be the bell housing. The engine sits in this quadrant right here. So engine goes up here, flywheel, isolation dampener, and then this adapter shaft here bolts up to the face of this. Now, that oil didn't seem like exactly super gear oil. It seemed like
or it didn't seem like motor oil, but it didn't seem like gear oil. It kind of seemed like kind of greasy. So it would make sense for this to be crapping the bed on me here. And what this does is this goes through right here, and your clutch sits on the face of this and interfaces from there to the transmission where your belt is. And the reason this is here is to keep that belt load, that side load, from yanking the freaking crankshaft out of the front of the motor. So with that being said, to the shop we go to pull this apart and see if there's any chance that I don't have to actually pull the motor, because the only thing I can find is a freaking main seal, and it would make more sense that it's this and not a main seal, because I'm not losing oil. I can check out my kitty cat. So you see how I was telling you, this takes up all of that slack. And that's a lot of butter. That's not good. That's not good at all. Oh, Lord. All right, we've saved the day. Pierce motor don't have to come out, but it smells very, it smells a lot like gear oil, which is the weird thing. Or a lot like engine oil, but it has a hint of gear oil. So, I don't know, but you can see by the way, the bearings are not loose in it, but you can see by the way that this is central to the oil distribution. There is absolutely no way that oil, if it was coming from the other side of the flywheel, would get all the way out around and come up here and be this evenly slung around on this seal. Therefore, that seal has failed, and I need to find another one of these. Then we get to put this thing back together right before the ride, but we have oil freaking oozing out. Oh, that's a lot of butter. I don't know. What the? Butter. Tasty. How much play do we have here anyways? Holy Toledo, knocked the door over. Yeah, a pretty significant amount there. So, thank God for Somewhat Haggard for number one, knocking sense into me and reminding me that that part even existed. Number two, the fact that he has the whole bearing kit and seal. So check him out on his YouTube channel, because dude's a G. He's going to send me that whole kit, buying it from him, and I'm going to be back in the show. Now, these kits are completely unavailable right now by like a 2 or 3 week back order. So, yeah. Thank God. Another Somewhat Haggard. He said he had a starter fail, pulled it apart and cleaned the brushes. Buddy, that's, oh, that brush is broke. Is it? No, I think it's just out of the spring. Yeah, it is. It's just out of the spring. And it is caked in what I presume to be Polaris AGL. That'd be why your starter don't work there, bud. The flywheel sits right here, and this is just like a funnel. So if that flywheel was spinning through that gear oil, it was just slinging it up in here and just packing it in the starter. So yeah, gnarly, brother. Gnarly. So yeah, she's down for the count. I found a motor for that. More on that and more on that news later. I've got a motor for it though. I just gotta go get it and strip it, and put it together the way it needs to be, and this will be back on the road. This may not be the content that I'd like to film, but it's content, so I'm gonna film it. And if you're here, I appreciate you watching it to the end, because it's not exactly exciting. It's definitely curiosity inspiring though. And if you're already at this point in the video, you might as well subscribe, because obviously you enjoyed it enough to watch it to the end. So we'll see you later. In another catastrophe.